Welcome to the Morning Report, a production of fightbackmedia.com, the #1 source of urban conservative information in America.
Well, good morning and welcome to the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. I trust that you are well this glorious day. We're getting there. Only a few more days, only a couple more days till Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone, and a happy and prosperous new year. As we have been sort of absent, we're making changes about how we're going to address the Morning Report and other aspects of Fightback Media. I think you're going to like it. I think you're going to like it. I'm not going to give you any hints, any details, but I think you're going to like it. All right. But as the reign of Biden or Obama 3 comes to an end, we have seen that, first of all, Barack Obama, I keep saying Barack Obama because, it's Barack Obama. Joe Biden has pardoned Hunter Biden back for possible crimes that date back to 2014. The hubbub now is that he may indeed pardon some people for things that they might find out in the future. I don't think that that's what it was meant. The presidential pardon was about. However, even under Biden's legitimate pardon ability, we are seeing this. President Biden has commuted the sentence of 37, I think there are 40 federal death penalty inmates that are currently on death row. The White House announced the decision earlier, halting the executions of 37 convicted murderers. Now, critics argue this decision undermines justice for victims and their family, while signaling a dangerous precedent in the fight against violent crime. The individuals spared include those convicted of heinous crimes ranging from serial murders to acts of terrorism. Despite these severe offenses, Biden defends his decisions as part of a broader effort, what he calls an inequitable justice system. The White House stated, the president believes in a justice system that reflects fairness and equal treatment under the law. Commuting these sentences aligns with his long-standing belief that the death penalty has no place in a civilized society. Now, I don't think that somebody who murders a mother and their 12-year-old child has any place in a civilized society either. When he, shoots her and then slits her throat, the 12-year-old. I don't think that person has any place in a civilized society either. Republican leaders slammed Biden's decision and have condemned the president's actions, calling them reckless and harmful to public safety. Senator Tom Cotton, Republican from Arkansas, and the incoming chairman of both the Senate GOP conference and the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, led the charge against Biden's clemency announcement. Joe Biden is an addled, corrupt, and demented failure. The White House has become a memory care facility as Biden is led around by his corrupt kids and his Marxist staffers. That's why 37 depraved murderers have clemency. Cotton wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter. The House Majority Whip, Tom Emmer, Republican from Minnesota, also expressed outrage and sentiment to Fox News Digital. He said this, unfortunately, if this is not surprising given that Biden-Harris administration has let murderers and rapists come in through our southern border for the last 4 years. Joe Biden's soft on crime record is exactly why voters fired him and reelected President Trump on November 5th. Republicans argue that Biden's decision prioritizes criminals over the safety of law-abiding Americans and the rights of crime victims. Outrage from the victims' family, the families of victims have expressed deep frustration and betrayal. accusing the administration of ignoring their pain and the severity of the crimes committed. Many argue that the justice is being denied. These decisions send the wrong message to grieving families and victims of violent crime. Said a representative from a national victim rights organization, the death penalty exists for a reason. It serves as the ultimate punishment for those most heinous acts. Commuting these sentences devalues the lives of those who were brutally taken. For many, the death penalty is not just about punishment, it's also about deterrence. Well, I don't believe that. I don't believe it's about deterrence because murder has been illegal and is illegal. No matter what, it's illegal, and it's illegal in every context, in every community, in every culture, and people still do it. It's about punishment. If you get into the country illegally and get sent home, and then you come back and you are in a New York subway, and for whatever reason, you decide to set a woman on fire and watch her burn to death. This person hasn't been charged with this crime yet, but if he gets charged and convicted, which I believe he will, what do you do with that person? What do you do? Now, in New York, where this happened, there is no death penalty. At the most, he would be sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole. Unless they charge him with a federal crime, a terrorism crime, and then he would be sent to federal prison and given a death penalty. So it's not a deterrent, it's a punishment. My opinion. Critics of Biden's move worry that eliminating the ultimate penalty, the administration is emboldening criminals who may feel they face less severe consequences for their action. Now, it has to be a cost-benefit analysis at this point. Are you going to, if you do this, you'll be sent to prison, yes, for life, which you could live, because there is a case right now in the state of Florida where there is a death penalty inmate who's 80 years old, who's been on death row for more, and I found a couple, for more than 30 years. And this dude is 80 years old. At this point, he is more likely to die of natural causes than anything that Ron DeSantis caused to happen to him. So when he commits this crime 30 years ago, and the victims and the victim is murdered, and the family loses that family member, and they go through that horror and that pain, this dude, now I'm not saying that he's been at the Hilton the whole time, but at least he's been alive. And he's not been able to go to Christmas functions. He's not going to run out to Christmas functions, but his family can come see him. His grandchildren can come see him. He knows who they are, especially now that we have, this. Yes, in a state prison, which is not the prettiest place in the world, he got to live out his life, where his victims did not. Anyway, legal and political fallout. The Clemency decision has reignited the national debate over capital punishment, with opponents citing racial disparities and wrongful convictions as a reason to abolish it. However, proponents argue that the federal death penalty is reserved for the worst of the worst and is applied judiciously, that's a hard word, in cases where guilt is indisputable. Legal experts note that while Biden has the authority to commute sentences, the decision does not reflect the will of many Americans. Polls consistently show that a majority of public support in the for the death penalty for the most serious crimes. A shift in federal policy. This decision marks a dramatic departure from the federal government stance under the Trump administration, which resumed education after a 17-year hiatus. Over 13 federal inmates were executed during Trump's presidency, a stark contrast to Biden's tendency for death row inmates. Critics of the president's approach warned that the decision undermines the role of federal juries, who found these inmates guilty and recommended the ultimate punishment. These juries carefully considered the evidence and handed down these sentences in accordance to the law. What message does this send to them and to the victims? One asks. As Biden doubles down on his push to end the death penalty, Republican lawmakers are vowing to fight back. They plan to make this a major issue in 2024 midterm elections, portraying Biden as weak on crime and out of touch with public safety concerns. For now, the family of the victims, law enforcement, and advocates of capital punishment are left wondering, if justice isn't delivered through the courts, where do you turn? Where do you turn? Where is justice? I think that we dodged another bullet because the House report on Matt Gaetz is out. And the report accuses Matt Gaetz of paying women for sex, using illegal drugs, accepting proper gifts. Former Representative Matt Gaetz, Republican from Florida, allegedly paid multiple women for sex, including a 17-year-old high school girl, and used illicit drugs like cocaine and ecstasy, according to a House Ethics Committee report. Now, normally this kind of report wouldn't be released, especially when the dude's not even a congressman anymore. Now, if he was still a congressman, that'd be kind of a different story. This is the damage Trump. Matt Gaetz is being sacrificed to punish Trump. Anyway, the 37-page report released this morning, concluded that Gaetz violated multiple Florida state laws related to sexual misconduct while in office. The committee concluded that there was substantial evidence that Representative Gaetz violated House rules, state and federal laws, and other standards of conduct prohibiting prostitution, statutory rape, illicit use of drugs, acceptance of impermissible gifts, the provision of special favors and privileges, and obstruction of Congress, that the report states. Now, Gaetz has constantly and consistently denied any accusation of wrongdoing, and an early federal investigation into the allegation ended up without charges against him, which is something that I think we really have to look at. This report says he did all these things, but when they investigated him before, they didn't bring charges. Why? Why didn't they bring charges? The committee's report stated that Gaetz continuously sought to deflect, deter, or mislead the committee in order to prevent his actions from being exposed. So I guess what he didn't do is, when he got accused of something, he didn't say yes. He said no. And that turned into deflecting or deterring or trying to mislead. When I'd say that, when you say that I did something and I say that I didn't. The report alleges that despite Gaetz's denials, he made tens of thousands of dollars in payments to women, likely in connection with sexual activity or drug use from 2017 and 2020. In one alleged sexual encounter, Gaetz had sex with a 17-year-old minor at a summer 2017 party. According to the committee's report, the report concluded that the act violated Florida's statutory rape law, even though the girl, identified in the report as victim A, said she never told Gaetz her age. And that's a whole nother discussion, right? First of all, my viewpoint is, if you're married, if you're married, then you're not having sex with anybody, whether they're 17 or 87. That ain't your wife, right? You're not. You're just not. So if you take that approach, you can't get in trouble. They can't get you. They can't set you up. Not that he was set up. I don't know if he was set up or not. Now, the person, victim A, says he didn't know. He didn't know. The committee received testimony that victim A and Representative Gaetz had sex twice during the party, including at least once in the presence of other party attendees. It was a freaking Diddy party? Is that what they're saying? The draft report alleges. The 17-year-old girl claimed that to have received $400 in cash from Gaetz, which she understood to be payment for sex, according to the report. She said that she was under the influence of ecstasy at the time and the sexual encounter, while alleging that she saw Gaetz use cocaine. Okay, so she is taking ecstasy and is messed up. She said, "Yeah, I saw him snort cocaine." Yeah, so she is a viable witness. Yeah, you can take whatever she says. The committee's report stated that it did not receive any evidence indicating Gaetz was aware the girl was a minor when he allegedly had sex with her. The report also alleges Gaetz refused to comply with the subpoena demanding an interview and intentionally withheld information about a trip to the Bahamas with women. Yeah, I'm not telling you anything. If you charge me with something and you put me under oath, I guess I have to, but I don't have to answer your questions. We all know that, right? We all know that. We watch enough YouTube to go, what do the defense attorneys tell you to do? What do they all tell you to do? They all tell you to shut your pie hole. You can't help yourself. Just go ahead and tell us. It's going to work out better. Shut your pie hole. Shut your damn pie hole. Right? The committee said that it obtained text messages from Gaetz allegedly sent to women, asking them to bring drugs to their rendezvous, referring to drugs as party favors, rolls, or vitamins. In interviews with the committee, witnesses said that they observed Gaetz using marijuana. The report says the House Ethics Committee multi-year investigation into Gaetz involving allegations of sex with a minor and illicit drug use came to an abrupt halt last month after he resigned from Congress, hours after President-elect Trump tapped him to be the Attorney General. Bill Gaetz later dropped out of consideration for the post amid quiet but steady GOP opposition. And Pam Bondi is now in that position and doesn't have nearly the problems. What do you think? Write it in the comments. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Mona Report. Again, the Mona Report is a selection of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. If you've got questions, concerns, suggestions, just send them to fightbackmedia@gmail.com, fightbackmedia@gmail.com. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, I'll take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.